Hello everybody and welcome back to another live stream on this channel. It's actually the first of many of my flying videos, or flying streams. I've started flying again. It's been quite a while since I did my last one. I've been hammering down on Formula 1 really recently, trying to get in as many leagues as possible, but I've died down a bit on that when the new game released. It just hasn't been the same really, I don't know why. But I'm still my main one, SOR. You can watch those on Tuesday because I'll be starting that streaming again. But if you look at my schedule down below, you'll be able to see the main days where I'll be streaming flying and when I'll be streaming Formula 1. So this is something relatively new for me, seeing as I haven't done it in a very long time. But let's get started. So if we have a look outside, we are in the Jet 2 heading from Manchester to Pula in Croatia in a 737-800 aircraft, and we are currently at stand. What stand are we on actually? I need to have a look at this. Stand 15, there we go. Stand 15 at Manchester Airport. We'll be connecting to VATSIM shortly, so we'll have air traffic control on the way there. Hopefully a little bit more than just ground and tower. Hopefully we get some radar along the way as well. The flight time today is 2.5 hours. And it should go fairly quickly if all goes smoothly. Hopefully nothing terrible happens. I've had that happen quite a few times in the past few weeks, but anyway, I've got used to the 737 now. I've been hammering down on flying this, and it's absolute joy to fly in a simulator, I must say. But anyway, let's get started. So I've already turned the battery on, just so I could open the doors for GSX, and what we can do is turn the RS to nav, wait for that to align, and then we switch it to yaw damper. Ooh, actually, first thing is ground connections. There we go. Now it should work. There we go. How realistic are these sims? They are, if you think about it in the flight dynamic way, they're a little bit off real life. So the way you fly them, for example this simulator P3D, is more on rails. It feels like it's on rails when you fly in this one. In X-Plane it's a bit sensitive. So they're all different to real life, but as far as the systems go in the planes and air traffic control and all of that, it's pretty much bang on with realism. But obviously flight dynamics can be improved a little bit, and graphics as well, but I've tried my best to improve those with add-ons. Yeah, it's quite nice. I love flying a simulator. It helps you improve your flow of doing things. So I fly the Icarus C42 in real life, so if I fly light aircraft, which is close enough to the Icarus in this really, if I fly light aircraft from VFR routes with air traffic control, I can improve my air traffic control phraseology and the flows and all of that. Circuits, that's another important thing of my training, so it's something that's quite good for me really. But anyway, so we turn the IRS on. I think that's on. Yeah, yaw damper, there we go. We can check the crossfeed valve, make sure that opens, and it does, that's good. Turn the fuel pumps on, APU2 on, emergency exit lights and seatbelt signs can go on, and the window heats we can switch on as well. Packs can go on, and we'll be cruising at level 370 today, which is 37,000 feet. Landing altitude we can check if I switch you to desktop view. There we go. We can check the landing altitude by typing in the ICAO code of Pula. Oops. There we go. 275 feet, so that is pretty much bang on. We usually round up, so you go to 300 feet there. So we can switch these off for now actually. And now we set up the FMC, or flight management computer. So if we go down here, fuel, let's have a look at what fuel we have on board. So we have 8.8 tons of fuel, so we do 8861, put it in here. That should take us comfortably to Pula with 30 minutes extra. And if we go to the payload, let's have a look how many passengers we have. I believe it's 131 here. So we can really do it in any way we want here. It doesn't really strictly matter. So we can put 5 in here. There we go. Doors, let's have a look. Well, what's it asking for? Closing the doors, is it? Let's have a look. Close, yeah, alright, so we can close the doors. Passengers have been boarded. If I looked outside at the right time, you'd be able to see them boarding, which is quite nice. It's a new edition, GSX Level 2. Came out a month or 2 ago, I think, something like that. So, now we can start the main flight setup. So if we go to pause in it, type in the ICAO code for Manchester, so that's Echo Golf Charlie Charlie, and we're at gate 15 or stand 15. Yeah, it is really good seeing the passengers come in. It used to not be able to see any passengers. I'll try and show you on the deboarding when we arrive in Pula, because you can actually set the amount of passengers that come out as well, what density they come out at, so you can set them coming out of a high density, like if you're deboarding a Ryanair or anything like that. Or if you've got a private jet, you can set it to sparse deboarding, or if you want, for example, if your computer isn't as good, you can put it to sparse passengers deboarding, and then that'll help your performance. I have it set to maximum, of course, as per usual. So we do have a company route today. It's Echo Golf Charlie Charlie, Lima Delta Papa Lima. And our flight number is Chanex 97 Bravo. Or is it 79? I think it's 79 actually. Let me check. Oops, not that one. Where is it? 79 Bravo, that's the one. 79 Bravo. That's our flight number. And what we can do is activate and execute that. It will automatically put the 0 fuel weight in. And reserves we can set to, I think it's usually 3 tons for this sort of flight. So we have 2.2, so 2.4, so 2.5 rounded up with those. 3.5, yeah, we'll do it 3.5. Just has to be an estimate really. We do cost index, database, we'll find it for Jet 2. Want to be as realistic as possible here really, so if we find the J, page 8. Where is it? Jet 2 in a Boeing 738 or 737-800 is cost index 79. We'll try and go a bit quicker today, so we put a cost index of 9 in, and if you're wondering what a cost index is, the cost index is basically the amount of fuel you burn to how fast you fly really. So if you have a high cost index, you fly faster, but you have more fuel burn. 370 is our flight cruising altitude today. 6,000 feet is the transition. And cruising, let's have a look at our briefing here. When we reach top of cruise, top of climb, sorry, which is the place we reach our cruise altitude, we have a wind pointing in the direction of 022 degrees, so that's the compass heading, and it's 22 knots, so it's about 24 miles an hour ish. Yeah, it is quite hard to start off. However, you do get used to it. I found it incredibly hard to start off. If you look at some of my old videos, very old videos from years ago, I don't know if I've still got them actually. If I do, you can have a look at them in my YouTube channel. And on those you can see the landings are absolutely god-awful. It's ridiculous, I had no idea what I was doing. But after watching loads of tutorials and all of that, you get used to it after a while. Right, so we're on this page now. What we can do is we can connect to VATSIM, which is the air traffic control network for this simulator, the main one. There's IVAO and VATSIM. So if we connect as Chanex 79 Bravo in a Boeing 738, flight plan, if we fetch from the server, hang on a minute. Ah, yeah, of course. I forgot to file it. So what we can do, I'll just switch you quickly back, so you don't see my credentials on on the stream. We'll file the flight plan. in a VATSIM pre-file. We'll be cruising about 450 knots, so that'll be about 475 miles an hour, 460, something like that. Departure time will be approximately 1800 Zulu, which is 7 o'clock UK time. So I'll put that in there. Full voice. Fuel on board, we have... How much fuel on board do we have actually? I'm going to go with 2 hours 40 minutes, 2 hours 45. And that is it. Final flight plan. And now if I go to... I can switch you back now. If I go to here, fetch from server, there we go, it's been fetched. So EGCC to LDPL, and we'll be cruising up flight level 370, file flight plan, so that's been filed. It looks like we only have ground on today actually, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, we only have ground on and no ATIS either. That's going to be a bit of an issue actually, isn't it? But anyhow, we can connect. 121.85 is the frequency. I'll just make sure that's done. You should be able to hear people speak too very shortly. The codec is awful in VATSIM though, so it's quite hard to understand people, but they are improving it in October, so that's something to look forward to. I don't know if someone was trying to speak there, I don't want to step on them. If not, then we can go. Manchester ground, good day. Chanex 79 Bravo, would you stand 15 requesting a radio check, please? Okay. Let's see, Yeah, I know, right? Let's have a look. Yeah, that should be... If that was ground speaking, that was readability 0 out of 5. It's just here static in the background, that's all. Well... That's a good start, isn't it? Yeah, we can't hear you one bit, unfortunately. See if you can reconnect your microphone or something, because well, I'm not sure, but possibly we could communicate via text. Oh, there we go.
Is it better now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, that's good, thank you very much. Chanex 79 Bravo. There we go.
Sorry, Chanex 79 Bravo, apologies, I've got my mic closed. Much the ground. Hello, where are these for?
Roger, thank you very much. Yeah, that's no problem. So we are actually going to request clearance, IFR clearance to Pula as filed. We understand 15 in a Boeing 738.
Chanex 79 Bravo, clear to Pula, 711 runway departure, runway 23 right, squawk 5255, QNH 1030.
Roger, clear to Pula as filed via the Samba 1 Romeo departure out of 23 right, squawk 5255 and the QNH 1030, Chanex 79 Bravo.
Chanex 79 Bravo, readback's correct.
Alright, good. So, what I can do is actually flip you back to window view, because you don't need to see VATSIM anymore. So we've got our departure, which we can program into here. So it's the Samba 1 Romeo departure. There it is, Samba 1 Romeo out of 2 free rights. And there's no discontinuities, so that's fine. Execute takeoff, and we are doing flaps 5 for takeoff actually. Firstly, what we should do is do N1 limit. This is the thrust that your engines will produce on takeoff. So I'll open up my takeoff calculator, get the data from the sim. Let's have a look. So we can do takeoff -2, which is a derated takeoff. It saves the engines and the runway, surprisingly enough. So we can assume the temperature, the engine temperature at 30 degrees too. So you can put 30 degrees in there. And takeoff -2, so that's good. Sense of gravity is done automatically. Our trim, which is a little tab at the back of your elevator, or the plane, the tail of the plane. The horizontal wings, if you want to call it that, sticking out the back of the plane. There's a little tab on the end of it, and that will make it easier for you to fly in a straight line, basically. So what we can do is move this wheel until it reads about 5.17, which is about there, isn't it, really? So we can do that. Oops, don't want to on the speed brake. So that's good. And these are V speeds. So V1 is the point of no return. Once you pass V1 speed, that means you can no longer reject the takeoff. You're committed to take off even with an engine failure. So V2, we put in there. V2 is the safe climb speed if you have one engine. And VR is rotate, so that's when you pull back on the stick when you reach 142 in our case. So what we can do is put the flight directors on, put the auto throttle on as well. Our runway heading is 233 degrees, because it's runway 23 right, 233, and seeing as we don't have any air traffic control, well actually we do on the ground. If you are offline you could just go straight to cruise level. What I'm going to do is go to transition level. Hopefully someone comes online and it can report at the transition level at the time. But anyway, so 5255 is our squawk code for today, and that's what helps the air traffic control identifiers. QNH is 1030, so we enter that into there. That's the pressure. So it should read 260 something ish if it's correct, because that's the elevation of Manchester. I think it's 256 actually, the elevation. And seeing as it's 256, what we can do is enter 1,256 feet into the barrier.
Manchester ground, the afternoon should be 3565, after landing takes to Bravo.
Will be 3 taxis and 44 via Bravo.
5-6, there we go. So that's the place at which we put autopilot on, basically.
Take the route to 1044.
Auto brakes can go to rejected takeoff.
Following Julie Foxtrot. Will be 3565.
Put the remaining
Okay,
fuel
via Bravo
pumps
and
on.
Foxtrot to gate 44, take 3565.
Hydraulics go on. Set all of that up. Anti-collision can go on, and strobes to steady. Oh, sorry, position light, sorry, unsteady. That is it, I think. We haven't missed anything. Yes, you can hit another plane, although it's... I've got it set to off, so if you hit another plane in my settings, you just go through it, because obviously if you're on the ground and someone makes a mistake and goes into you, then your simulator will crash and you reset, which isn't really good. So I've switched it off. You just go through a plane if you go into it in my sim, but you can crash into others, but it does reset your simulator, which is quite annoying. Right, so what we can do is request pushback. 79 Bravo. Just want to remember my call sign, so I'm writing it down. Kraken X79 Bravo, ready for pushback and startup, stand 1-5.
X79 Bravo, stand 1-5, push start route face south.
Push start approved, facing south, Kraken X79 Bravo. Yes, I mean, it would be... I don't know what to say here, really. It wouldn't be nice if you could crash into the planes, but it'd be more... People would be more careful, if you get what I'm saying. People would be much more careful. Anyway, so we are cleared to push back facing south, so if we prepare for pushback and departure, our nose will be facing to the left, tail to the right, and we don't want to start engines yet. So what we can do is remove the chocks, set the parking brake. That is it. We can close the doors. I know doors are closed actually, aren't they? Yeah, that's good. So we just wait for the snap in. I actually have Navigraph open as well. I can just flick you over again, which is this handy thing here, and it will give you the route. You program in the route, and it gives you the charts for everything. So these are the en route charts to waypoints and the airways and all of that. So this is the route we're taking down to Pula. So if we go to Manchester Airport and open the charts list, go to taxi and airport, and we look at our position, we're right here, and when he gives us taxi clearance it'd be much easier for us. Right, so what we can do is start the engines after we start pushing back. So clear to start engines, let's do it. Turn the packs off before we do that actually. It'll make it easy to start the engines. So this will start rising. When it reaches about 23%, we turn the engines on. You'll hear them spool up in a minute. Here's another aircraft right here. Doesn't seem to have a company. He's just apparently landed again. Nice. Right, 27. We can switch. We can put the fuel in. That's the switch that puts the fuel into the engines. So what this switch does up here is the ignition for the engines really, but both engines do have ignition in them, so you don't strictly have to switch this over to the right side, or the left side, sorry. I can just leave it over there, and this one will start up as well. There we go. Right, this can go on. We haven't done any of the oxygen testing or any of that, so there are fire tests like this. And that. And then the oxygen test.
Number 44, thank you for this.
Stall tests. And overspeed tests. You've got all
No worries,
those.
BB3565, have a great day, mate.
Well, that's the thing, you don't know if everything's alright. There can be random errors in the simulator. So you can set it to random failures. Just to keep it realistic, you keep doing the tests, but there's not really much point doing it this time round, because I did have a bit of issue with Ground Services X, which is this. The pushback services and all of that, I had a bit of an issue with that, so starting a bit later. Yeah, there can be random failures, yeah, definitely. So anyway, we can switch the APU to the engines, switch the APU bleed off and APU off. Engines go to continuous. And we can put the pitot heats on. Do we need anti-ice? No, we don't. It's not. If it's 10 degrees or less, you put anti-ice on for the departure, usually. Or if you're flying through a cloud, you put engine anti-ice on, and if you've got ice appearing on the windscreen wipers here, you put the wing anti-ice on. that's the basics of anti-ice really. So that's all good. We can put flaps to 5, and those are the things that come down on the wing. These here. Those are the flaps. Right, so what we can do, we're not actually going to switch the transponder on, because then it will squawk mode Charlie on VATSIM and it gets annoying for the air traffic controllers. So I'm going to keep it like that for now. We've been given clearance by ground handling to the taxi. They're no longer with us, so we can actually request taxi. Ready for taxi, Chanix 79 Bravo.
Channel 79 Bravo, taxi calling Boeing Mike 1123 right via Foxtrot Kilo Juliet.
Roger, taxi holding point Mike 1 via Foxtrot Kilo and Juliet, Chanix 79 Bravo. Right, so we've been given clearance to taxi, so we go Foxtrot, Kilo and Juliet to Mike 1. So let's commence taxi, shall we? Taxi light goes on. Let's do a takeoff warning test, and that's passed. That basically means you set takeoff thrust very, very shortly, momentarily I mean, and if it beeps then you've got takeoff config warning, and then you can't take off unless that's solved. We do a quick control test, and that works perfectly. We are going a bit fast, so we slow down. What do I use to steer the plane? I have this. It's like it's a spring axis on my throttle that I can use to turn. I don't know how to properly explain it really. It's just an axis on the back of my throttle with a spring on it, and that's what I use to the rudder, sorry, and that will turn this. Can you see that? That's the tiller, and that turns your nose wheel. So it's not Hotel 1, it's Mike 1, which is one after this. Also controls the rudder, which are the pedals there as well.
Channel 79 Bravo, Monitor Unicorn 122.8. Have a great flight, bye bye.
Roger, 122.8, thank you very much for service, have a lovely evening, bye bye. Right, so we've been handed off. So now on Unicorn 122.8, that's the standard frequency that the pilots not under control, not in real life, but in VATSIM, use to communicate with each other. You learn more about planes every minute you watch. Well, if you have any questions, just ask. I'll try my best to answer them. I'm not a pilot yet in real life, but that's what I'm aiming for, and I've learned the 737 pretty much inside out. Anyway, so let's have a look if there's any aircraft on approach, which I'll just do quickly without switching you over. Oh, actually, there we go. Right, there is a plane on approach. Oh no, it's fine, never mind. He's disappeared now. So that's okay. Let's announce it on Unicom anyway. Take off, runway 23 right, Manchester traffic. Okay, that's all good. What we can do is switch the landing lights on, taxi lights stay on because we're cleared for takeoff. Logo we can keep off actually, strobes go on. Flaps are set, recall, no errors. And TCAS goes on, that's traffic collision avoidance system. So let's line up nicely. Right, so everything is set how it should be. Advanced defrost to 40%. The engines are stable. And toga, which is takeoff. Here we go. Right, so we have plus 80 knots. I forgot to call that out. Usually would in real life. V1 and rotate. So that's when we pull back on the stick. We have positive rate of climb, so gears go up. And we trim to keep the aircraft climbing at a steady rate, or the rate we want. We should try and follow these flight directors, although it's not necessary at the moment. Passing the Barrow now, so we can switch LNAV and command on, or autopilot. And we can bug up, which means bug the speed up, bring the speed up a lot. And that's for noise abatement procedures, so that's to avoid making residents angry near to the airport. So noise abatement procedure 2 is what I've just done. And that's bugging up, going at a higher speed, closer to the airport. And noise abatement procedure 1 is going at a low speed near the airport and accelerating after. And abatement procedure 1 is for people living near the airport, and abatement procedure 2 is people living further away. After takeoff checklist, taxi lights can go off as well. Engines will leave on continuous until we pass flight level 100. And that is good. We have passed 3,000 feet, so VNAV can go on. We can abandon the noise abatement now. And make sure you do say if the game volume is too loud, by the way, because obviously this is the first time I'm doing it in quite a long time, so it'd be a big help if you said whether it was good or not, so I can change it accordingly. Alright, that's good. Thank you very much. Right, so seeing as we don't have any air traffic control from this point onwards, maybe when we pass over Amsterdam, I'm not sure what route we're taking at the moment, but seeing as we don't have anything, we can climb to our cruising level of 370. And we can now put pressure on standard, and standard is 1013.25 hectopascals, and that's basically the average standard pressure at mean sea level, and it's what all pilots use above the transition level. We've got a bit of a screen freeze here for some reason. Actually, that'll be my autosave going on. We can reset the barrows on. At night it looks even better out here. The lights are amazing in the simulator now, from all the add-ons that you get and everything. We can take a look outside actually. Yeah, that's a screenshot and a half, that is. Yeah, that's very nice. Alex Aviator, welcome to the channel. So we've just departed. Oh, hello. What's this here? Got a traffic warning. Can't see the traffic if I'm honest. Where is he? Ah, yeah, he's alright. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying, Alex Aviator, if you're only just joining now, we have just departed altitude right from Manchester, heading to Pula. So flight time today is about 1 hour 50 minutes remaining, I'd say, 1 hour 40 possibly. Right, passing 10,000 feet, lights off. Strobe stay on, engines can go to off as well. And that's good. I'm gonna climb, sorry not climb, but speed up to our climb speed now. And what we can actually do in the meantime is go to arrivals, and we're going to be doing the ILS for 27. And let's actually have a quick look. Oh, who's that? Alex Aviator, thank you very much for the follow, much appreciated. I thought that was in my aircraft for a minute there, forgot what tone I had for the follow. Thank you very much. Right, anyway, so let's have a look at Pula. So yeah, we'll be doing the 270, runway 270 ILS arrival, and we'll have a quick look at what arrival route we'll be doing. It should be rotar, if there's a rotar one there, that'd be quite nice. Yeah, there we go, rotar. So if we go to Navigraph, I'll switch over once again. If we go to Navigraph, get out of the Manchester Airport area. So this is our route here. And what we do is do not the approaches. Here we go, rotar 2 Yankee or 4 Bravos for us. Ooh, we don't have that actually. Hang on a minute. 2 X-ray, where's 2 X-ray actually? Rotar 2 X-ray. Ah, there we go. X-ray and Zulu are both there, so yeah, that's good. Alright. We're not going to bother with transitions at all, so we'll keep it like that. Fuel in the centre tanks can have run out, so we can switch the centre tanks off. And that's good. I like how the missed approach is called Plan B. So if we go across and have a look at our approach, if there's nothing stupid that we have to do, it should be alright. Yeah, that's alright, so we'll just do a quick box around. So what we can do, seeing as we've sorted that out, is we can already start setting up for the approach. So 149 knots, 30 degrees 149 knots, that's the flaps we'll be doing. So the flaps will be 30 degrees and we'll be flying 149 knots at our approach speed. And that's our minimum approach speed actually, so you have to take wind into account as well. So if you have high winds, then you halve the wind, add it on to your approach speed. So the ILS frequency, that's for auto land. What we're going to use it for is to take us down to about 5 miles until the runway. When we're 5 miles out, we'll fly it ourselves. So 111.5, we'll put that in. Another screen freeze, that's FSU IPC again. You must have a plan C if something goes wrong. Yeah, indeed. .5 it was, wasn't it? There we go. And a 111.5 in the other one. And also planned EVC goes wrong. Yeah. Well, look, I'll say luckily. Unfortunately, a lot can go wrong in this, which it has done in the past few weeks for me. A lot has gone wrong. I'll upload a few videos actually of missed approaches and things like that on my YouTube channel, which you can find if you type in, I think it's either socials, I think it's socials or exclamation socials or exclamation YouTube. If you type that into Twitch chat, you should hopefully get something if I set it up correct. Right, so course is 264, so we can set that up. Yeah, alright, so exclamation YouTube doesn't work, it's socials then. Yeah, so if you look in my panels down below, you can just have a look at that and click on one of the links that take you to my YouTube channel. Yeah, so that's all done. We are set up for the approach. Not that we have to use it anytime soon, but still. Oh, look at those lights though. This is what I was talking about before. Excellent. Looks absolutely amazing. Yeah, I know, yeah, streaming on YouTube too. I'm using an app called, oh not an app, a program called Restream.io, and it will stream to both sites at the same time. And I've also got the Restream chat in the Twitch channel as well, so if you look at the chat on your screen, oops, I'll switch you back to this view. If you look at the chat on your screen, up to the left, then that will also appear if someone on YouTube comments as well, so it's quite nice. So there's our top of cruise, or top of climb, sorry, just under 80 nautical miles away. You're getting a few updrafts, I must say, a few thermals. I'll just make sure I make this flight in Project Fly so you can actually use the flight commands in the chat as well. Right, so that's done. So you can actually have a look. Well, if you type in exclamation commands into the Twitch chat, you should get a list of commands, and hopefully you can use some of those. (9,000 feet from our cruise. We're about halfway from Manchester to London at the moment, so if you can't see the radar, then that's approximately where we are. just search the call sign. Yeah, I got the call sign from my virtual airline. There are things called virtual airlines in the flight sim community, and that's where you're part of an airline, virtual airline, and you have the general routes that the airlines in real life take, and the call signs and all of that. So I was given a call sign by my virtual airline. Hang on a minute. Got a loading symbol here for some reason. Or something that's trying to load at least. Yeah, this is one thing that is quite annoying with the flight simulator actually. It's very annoying as a matter of fact. And that's the fact that it will crash a lot. A lot of the time it will crash. Yeah, it's quite annoying. Luckily I do save my flights along the way. But it looks like the flight sim is just stuck in the loading screen for some reason. Don't know why it's loading if I'm honest, but hey ho. Yeah, it is a shame. It happens. It's just something that you have to deal with in the flight sim community really. It's something you have to get used to. But yeah, like I said, luckily I do actually auto-save along my flight, so the maximum it's going to be behind is about 5 minutes. Yeah, this isn't loading. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'll switch you back to window. I'll Alt F4 quickly. Sound will go off a little bit for a little bit there. So just bear with me for 1 minute. I'll just reload my flight sim and reload to where I was before. Well, yeah, like I said, it's just something I have to deal with. It's a bit of a shame, but still. Didn't look like we were going to pass over any air traffic control anyway, so that's a shame. Don't know if there's much point trying to reconnect to VATSIM, seeing as it just puts more strain on you when you have to announce everything on Unicom, but we'll see. I can close a few more apps at least, that's nice. Simulator takes about 5 or so minutes to load. That's another thing as well. Luckily I've re-downloaded it onto PCIe SSD, because before when it was on my hard drive it took literally 20 minutes to load a flight sim, which is, I think it's ridiculous if I'm honest. But it's all the stuff really, isn't it? No, Alex Aviator, not at the moment. I don't work in aviation, but I am planning on doing so in the near future, hopefully. I'm currently training for my national private pilot's licence in the northwest near Manchester. So that's something I'm trying to do. I'm about 2 hours off my solo. So that's quite nice. It's on the routes. It's for a microlight licence, so it's not going to get me anything commercially, but after I've done the microlight licence, I'm going to head on to do my private pilot's licence, and then after that I'll be heading on to commercial flight school and hopefully working for an airline in the next few years. That's the dream anyway. Hopefully it's going to come true. You also have the PPL, yeah. It's something that I'm planning on getting in the near future. But the MPPL at the moment is what I'm working towards, and that's for microlight license, so I'm not sure if you know the Icarus C42. Oh, you work for Ryanair as an aircraft engineer. That's good. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine it is nice being around aircraft all the time. I went to work with Swissport for a few weeks for some work experience a while back. Well, not a while back, about 2 or 3 months ago. So yeah, that's what happened then. Worked with Swissport a few months ago, and it was really good. It was an amazing experience going on the ramp and all of that. Don't have any clue what's going on. It's alright, Pixel, we all start somewhere. Right, so 60% loaded apparently. And then I'll load up the scenario and we carry on our flight. We can use simulation rate a little bit, I guess, seeing as we are behind by about 10 or 15 minutes. Load the scenario. Yeah, there we go. It's the autosave from 7:15 UK time, so it's not far back really. 5 minutes. And it should load exactly where we left off, which is nice. Well, let's fly chrono, do the loading of the time zone stuff, and then after we've done that we can get rid of fly chrono. If you don't know what fly chrono is, it's an app that syncs your simulator time with real life time, but once it's just because the simulator time is like a few milliseconds slower than real life, so it can get out of sync quite easily, but it's not too much of an issue at the moment. So if we set it up and it corrects the time to Zulu, then we can exit it and just carry on at this pace. Yeah, so anyway, so Ryanair is actually one of my choices. If it were to come for it, that'd be quite nice if it could work for Ryanair. Also Jet2 is another option. Jet2, TUI, Thomas Cook, those type of companies. Did work experience with Thomas Cook as well, so that could help as well, I guess. Of course. What do you mean, of course? Oh, there we go. Alright, so that should load in a minute. Please do. Anything other than a black screen would be nice for now, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's just loading, that's all it is. Ah, there we go. Yeah, we're definitely not in America, don't worry. Yeah, because the default scenario is situated in Florida, or near there at least, I think. So when we reload the simulator, it puts us in America. We're definitely not over America now, so that's fine. There we go. So we've rejoined back to where we are supposed to be, at least. What we can do is turn some lights on, actually. It would be quite nice to have some lights on. Yeah, it's because the tracking program that I had was tracking every movement I did, so if I spawned in America, it would have brought me directly to America on the map. And that's the only reason. Oh, not again, please. I swear to God. Oh, you have to leave. The shift starts in 1 hour. Have fun. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. You've got to be kidding me. Oh no. I think it's this fly chrono, if I'm totally honest. It does seem to be messing me up so much. That is a bit of a pickle, actually. Well, looks like we're reloading again. I'm going to completely get rid of Fly Chrono this time. There's no point using it. It's just going to crush my sim again, isn't it? Oh, that's absolutely annoying, isn't it? Right, we're going to use simulation rate to catch up after we've done this. Definitely, so we're not going to be behind at the end of it, but just this process is bloody annoying. Right, let's try again, shall we? About time it worked. Yeah, so any questions, just ask in the meantime as well. I'll try and answer them to the best of my ability. What we can do in the meantime actually is put a few tunes on. Why not? Right, so what you can do is type in... Oh, right, can you fly with 2 people in one airplane? Yes, you can, that's the answer. Not in the one I'm flying at the moment, because it's not supported, but it's called Connected Flight Deck. And you can do it in the Q400 and the Airbus A320 as well. There's a few planes you can do it in, not in the 737 at the moment though. Right, so what you can do is you can put in Twitch chat exclamation song request and then type the name of the song you want after it, and we should have some song requests coming in then, and we can play some tunes over the rather annoying reloading of the flight sim. We'll reload this autosave, shall we? There we go. Alright, I've got a custom playlist on at the moment. I am feeling lonely, and I want a minute time to end the ride. Fading it too slowly, for those gonna lift me up this time. Try to avoid anything annoying if that's what you're trying to get at there, Pixel, but yeah, anything's welcome. Just follow the command MooBot said a minute ago. No monetization on this, so we should be alright playing songs. Alright, nearly done. 60% of the way through. You have to type the full song request in, not just SR. There we go. About time. Yeah, no, there's nothing I can really do about it. Tell me if you need your volumes adjusting, by the way, with music and plane noises. Oh my god, what was that? Instead of putting the plane lower, I'll put the music up. Is that better for you? You sure? I'm not sure how to put the plane volume down actually. Right, so that's music a bit lower. And that is playing a bit lower. Is that better? Alright, good. Right, so like I was doing before, we can put the main panel lights on, can't we? I'll put the data back on for you guys. Hey! Michael, I haven't seen you in a long time. It is safe for now, yes. It is definitely safe for now. That should be working for you now. That means that's a Zulu time, so it's 7 past 8 Zulu time, so or UTC. So that's the time it thinks we're going to land. When we've reached cruise level, we'll speed it up a bit. Yep, just 1.5 hours remaining. We'll speed that up a bit though, because we did lose about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll try and get the Zulu arrival time to about 10 to 8. Yeah, definitely. It's quite a road, I must say. It is quite a road. I've got A-levels now as well, which is the main focus. They're hard as anything, I tell you right now. But they're doable. Definitely doable. And after that, it's straight on to flight school, or commercial flight school, as I say. So yeah, it's going well so far. Nearly at our cruising altitude now. Yeah, the flying itself is alright. It's just like you said, it's the buttons. That's the main thing, really. But once you've nailed that, you're pretty much sorted. Right, so we can we're not online, so I can actually direct, can't I? Let's see. We'll direct to Lesdo. Yeah, and we can skip about 15 minutes worth, can't we? So we'll do that quickly after we've turned, because this does have a tendency to mess things up if you accelerate time whilst turning. Yeah, I do hope so. Although I have had quite a few of those oh hi marks from my A-level college. It's just a normal standard now, isn't it? It's just, you just get used to it. Right, so in a straight line now, we'll accelerate a little bit, shall we? We'll bring it to the coast. That should be enough. Right, so that should have accelerated time enough. If you type in ETA in, actually, let's do that. Hang on a minute. I can do that from here. Oh, you've already done it. There you go. Fair enough. 2004, that should have updated. Not gonna lie. Let's have a look. What's it predicting? It was 1 hour 27 minutes. What could have happened is the wind could have happened, actually. We could have had a tailwind on the way to London, and then it gets rid of the tailwind when we turn. We'll accelerate a little bit more. We'll accelerate across the channel, why not? Alright, there we go. Bring it back to normal pace. Right, so that should have updated now, should be a bit better. Let's have a look. 1 hour 22. Yeah, it's good enough for me. Oh, I didn't realise I actually have a live ETA at the top. Forgot about that. Let's oh, that is not good. Let's reduce that to normal. For some reason the aircraft dived when I put it in time acceleration there. Yeah, so I'll adjust it depending on that. I'll try and bring it down to probably about 10 to, and then allow 10 extra minutes for that. Yeah, it is quite a scare when anything freezes. You just think, oh, not this again. It's happened way too many times for me to be comfortable with it. Right. I've got to keep an eye on this altitude here, because when you do accelerate, it doesn't keep to the altitude properly. Usually, it'll go up and down, and then it gets bigger and bigger oscillations and all of that. And when we reach Lesdo, we'll bring it back to normal. There we go, good. So that should, yeah, that's much better. Alright. We're back to pace now, aren't we? Back to our schedule. Yeah, well, many people do think that. It can get boring after a while. If you have air traffic control though, it's not gonna get boring, because you constantly, you're listening to the conversations people are having through air traffic control, seeing what different people are doing. And with air traffic control, you're constantly looking through the FMC and programming new things in, listening out for air traffic control, what they tell you, all of that. If you don't have air traffic control and you just sit there on your own, it can get boring. But that's why you leave it on autopilot and do something else. It's my advice, really. You come back to it when you're 30 minutes away from the landing or whatever, or from the descent. Honestly speaking though, with air traffic control, it flies by like anything. Yeah, go for it. Definitely go for it. Yeah, Air Force Proud is a different story, definitely. Yeah, it is definitely serious. Romaint, is that how you pronounce it? Romaint, thank you very much for the follow, much appreciated. Welcome to the channel. For someone like you, I would... Ooh, that's a hard one actually. Seeing as you're not really into it at the moment, I'd say X-Plane, if I'm honest. Because you can do more in it, really. More without getting a lot of add-ons, and you get much better graphics than in the one I have. But the one I have is mainly just for professional practice and training and all of that. This is what they use in the main flight sims, what they train pilots in when you have those big full motion flight sims. It's this exact program or sim they use for it. And yeah, the Cooper with Air Force Proud. Oh, I love that guy. But yeah, ATC is usually serious. You have to keep to very formal phraseology, and you have to keep to it. Otherwise, you can get told off. It's supposed to simulate real life, really, so you're trying to keep it as real as possible. Unless you're an FSX Steam Edition, of course. So that's the route we're taking, if you're interested. This is the range that we can see on this map. So at the moment, that's 80 miles there. That's now 160 miles, etc, etc. So that's the route we're taking. Should have turned traffic on actually, shouldn't I? And we can turn weather radar on, because why not? But yeah, Pixel definitely X-Plane, I'd say. X-Plane 11. And then when you're into it, you can either switch to P3D, you can stay in X-Plane 11, because there's plenty of good add-ons in X-Plane 11. It can get a bit sensitive with the flying in X-Plane 11, that's why I stay away from it, because I don't like that sort of flight dynamic where a little tiny move you make in the joystick, it pulls up like mad. I like it more clunky. I don't know if that's a good way to explain it or not, but yeah, that's what I like. What you can do actually is turn the logo light on, because why not? That lights up the logo on the back of the plane, the tail. So if I give you a look now, there you go, it's lit that up. So that's what the logo light does. Looking really nice. Something I did forget to do is start the clock. Yeah, exactly. It's something really useless, but they have it anyway. I know it sounds useless, it's for advertising, that's all it is really. You can identify the plane by looking at its tail, that's the main reason for doing it. So for example, also, if you're an air traffic controller, you look at the plane, you can't see the tail at night unless the light's switched on. Something really basic, but it can come in handy at night and advertising, which is what airlines like, isn't it really? Yeah, exactly. For me taking nice photos, go plane spotting at the viewing park. Although you can't go to the viewing park at night, but oh well, still. There is another sneaky area that you can go to there. If we're talking about Manchester Airport. I'll see you're fond of Air Force Proud 2 and the Cooper, or Michael. I should probably refer you to us now, really. But how many hot air balloons have I come across? Luckily, none, really. Well, I'd say luckily, but it would have been a damn good laugh if I was on a serious air traffic control network and I saw a hot air balloon be vertical. That'd be quite interesting. Spice up my day. Something I do keep on forgetting to do, which is quite bad of me actually, is not putting the cap back on my pen because it will dry out, and then I have nothing to write with if air traffic control speaks to me. So should probably keep it nice and working. Yeah, no, it's ridiculously expensive, and by add-ons in my sim I mean probably over £2,000 what I've got so far, so I'm pretty damn grateful about it as well. So it's just something you have to deal with if you want to get into flight simming. You can get the PMDG, for example. That's £100 now, I think it is. I think £100 for this 737. You don't need airports. It looks much better if you have airport add-ons, but you don't need them. So you can just fly to default sceneries. Obviously you won't have that experience, but you don't really need it. The only thing you need really is a good plane. Everything else is just advised. You also need a good weather engine as well, like this. I have Active Sky Next. Oh, not Next, sorry. Active Sky for version 4. One hour left of the flight. Not too long if you think about it like that. Passing over central France right now. That's what's below us. What's our optimum actually? 370. That's the best fuel saving. That's the optimum. I should have started a clock really, that was something I should have done when I took off. You start the clock and it gives you a timer of how long the flight is. You start it when you set takeoff thrust and you disengage it, should I say, when you leave the runway after landing. That's why you should always have a checklist on you. I was just doing it from memory this time. Yeah, it's something that isn't great with X-Plane. This is the only reason, well, there's two reasons: flight dynamics and planes. You don't get many planes in X-Plane 11. Ironically, seeing as it's named X-Plane, but you don't get many good ones. You can get the good 757, that's a really good one. 75 is really good. You can also get the Zebo 737, which is a free aircraft add-on. It's the 737 which I'm flying now, but it's free basically, so grab it. You might as well grab it while you can. Just type in Zebo, Z-I-B-O 737. 5.4 tons of fuel left. Way more than enough. Do you mean the 737? It's Zibo, Z-I-B-O 737 for X-Plane 11. That's the only good one I know of, really, and it's free. Let's see if this works. I've just switched a setting on. Lights look absolutely amazing on this. Really do. It's a combination of Sim, I think it's Sim Night 3D or something like that, and the Orbex lights. Sim Night requires I think it requires a donation of €5, and Orbex is free, so it's not too much for the lights, and it's a whole big game, it really is. Well, no, not really. X-Plane is for both. People, I know professional pilots who prefer X-Plane. It's just as equal, really, with realism. It's just what you prefer, really. It's the flight dynamics, but X-Plane is more for beginners. More beginners choose X-Plane than P3D. That's what I'm going to say. There's upsides and downsides of both. That's just how it is, really. There's no perfect flight sim. This is its downsides, and X-Plane has its downsides. But that's in my views as well. People have different views, of course. Once again, if you want any songs that you like to be played, just type in !song request and the name of your song. Alright, let's have a look. 52 minutes still. So don't forget tomorrow, if you looked at my stream schedule, I'll be doing a long haul flight starting at 8 o'clock BST, or is it 7 or 8? I can't remember actually. Can't remember my own timetable. That's quite positive, I must say. Whatever time it is, tomorrow we'll be doing an ultra long haul flight, so it'll be starting at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and it'll be lasting until the morning of Saturday. Yeah, definitely. Don't expect you to watch the entire thing. Even I'm not staying here for the entire thing. It might end up being a split stream, if I'm honest, because I don't think you're allowed to stream without being there. So what will happen really is I'll start it, cruise for maybe 2 hours or so, and then head to bed, wake up in the morning and land it. I'll just have to figure out what flight I'm doing. That's all. Also, it's a different aircraft as well, so I'll have to use my checklist for that one. Because I can't remember all the planes off the top of my head. I can remember the 737, that's it at the moment. Everything else I use a checklist for. But the 737, if you want to call it fluent, I'm fluent with the 737 flows. Almost fluent. I missed a clock, so I can't quite say I'm fluent yet. So just over 160 miles until our top of descent, and that's the point at which we start descending. So not too long really. The descent will probably take about half an hour itself, but that goes quickly because it's full of just mainly trying to get down as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible. Might have to open what's called the lever of shame, and that's this, the speed brake, and that's to slow you down fast really. It's called the lever of shame because you don't usually use it unless you've messed up under descent. Yeah, it does take quite a while to get down. Don't know how fast I can get down actually. It's usually about 2,000 to 3,000 feet per minute that we go down. So if we're 30,000 feet high, which we're not, a little bit more than that, but if we're 30,000 feet high, it's going to take 10 minutes to descend. At 3,000, but it's not going to stay at 3,000. It's about 3,000 or 4,000 when you're descending up here, because obviously there's less air resistance in there. As you go down further, then obviously you descend slower because you can't go as fast. Basically, yeah, so if you look at this, this is indicated airspeed. This is the speed at which air is hitting the plane. So this is what we fly on. We're flying through the air at 250 knots, about 260 miles an hour, 255. But the actual speed we're going, the rate we're covering the ground, so if you're in a car, this would be your speed, is 437 knots, so about 450 miles an hour. So that's the difference between indicated airspeed and ground speed. Obviously, the lower you go, the denser the air is, so you can't have a big difference between ground speed and indicated airspeed the lower you go. So that's why you can't descend as quickly. Yeah, exactly. They are incredibly fast. If you think about it, the fastest, really, if you think about the 747, the double-decker with the 4 engines, don't confuse it with the A380 though. It's with the hump, not with the 2 decks. So that big plane, 747, if you catch it on a good day in cruise, you can go 1,000 kilometers an hour, which is ridiculously fast. All depends on your headwind really. So you've got this wind direction here. It's currently 0.28 degrees and it's going 25 knots. If this arrow is pointing at you this way downwards, then you have a headwind and you're going to be slower. You're going to cover the ground at a much slower speed depending on what the headwind is. If this is pointing up, you've got a tailwind, which means the wind's pushing you, so you're going to be going much faster. So if you have a, for example, 100 knot tailwind, which isn't unlikely at all because you've got the jet stream, don't forget, so if you got a tailwind of 100 knots, you're going to go 100 knots-ish faster, which can be a huge boost to speed. That's why usually when you fly over Europe, actually I'll do a better example, when you fly from America to the UK, it's going to be much quicker than if you fly from the UK to America. It's going to be like an hour or two shorter, just because you've got the jet stream and various other things as well, but that's the main thing that will affect it. Yeah, you learn something new every day. I didn't know that until about a year ago, so I'm still learning as we speak as well. Every minute here, yeah. I'll try my best. But just, like I said, keep the questions coming, I don't mind. Some cool things actually if you want to see. You've got data, which shows the time you'll arrive at that waypoint. This is just general stuff you can look at. Your positioning, so it shows your position really. Terrain will show the terrain below you. I'll just let it load in. If it does, there we go, there's our terrain. So there's a little bit of mountains ahead, a few hills. So that's terrain. We'll keep it on weather though, because we don't have to worry about terrain in Pula. Waypoints, these are all the waypoints you'll see, although I don't know why it's not showing up if I'm honest. Airports, those are all the airports within your distance. Maybe if I zoom in a bit. There you go, those are the waypoints. These change the screens. That's how you change those. So you can have this down there as well if you want, but generally you keep that clear when you're flying. There you go, you can change all these screens how you want it to be. It is indeed. There's so many hidden buttons and things to do in the 737. And the A320 is a little bit different because it's more computerized if you think about it. And if you fly the 737, it's more manual. I don't know how to explain it properly because they both fly themselves, but it feels more like you're in control if you fly the 73 than if you fly the A320. I might do an A320 flight next Wednesday or something. Yeah, that's good. Also, another cool button, you don't ever do this in the air, but if you do this, test all the lights. So you've got every single light illuminated, which is quite nice. If you want a nice dome light, you can switch this light on. That's dim, and that's bright. You use these on the ground usually when you just arrive at the stand. When you're approaching the runway and all of that stuff, you never have the dome light on really. There's no point, and it's dangerous as well because if you think about it, if there's any sort of issue and your eyes are used to the light, used to bright lights, and it's dark outside, just think about being in your house at night. You go in the bathrooms and have the light on. You stay in there for 20 minutes. Immediately switch the light off and run out into your house, and try and walk down the stairs or something. It's not going to work because you won't be able to see a thing because your eyes are acclimatized to the bright lights. So that's why you don't have the dome lights on usually when you're descending and approaching the runway. You can have it on in cruise though. That's why they also, if you're ever in a plane and they say we dim the lights for takeoff and landing, that's the entire reason why. It's for safety. It's not so you can have a better look out the window, sadly. How long left? 38 minutes, we're nearly there. Let's see what else I can show. There's not really much I can show here without messing up the aircraft really. These are just the radio panels. Squawk code, like I said before. That squawks ident. That puts a big identification word above your head on the air traffic control radar. So when you press that, you're easily identifiable. That's the door for the cockpit. You can deny or allow people to enter. That's rudder trim. Nothing really much you can do in that. Down here, if we have a look actually. Let's go down here. You got these things. Actually, I'll turn the dome light on so you can have a better look. Where is it? There it is. Right. Oops, there we go. These down here. These flap inhibit, gear inhibit, terrain inhibit. So when you get close to the ground without gear down, it will say, I don't know the tone actually it will give you, but GPWS means ground proximity warning system. So if you're close to the ground, you don't have flaps set, you don't have gear down, and you're close to terrain in the wrong conditions. For example, a train will go terrain, pull up, and that can be very annoying, especially if you're approaching places like Innsbruck, very mountainous areas. It will say that all the time, and all you have to do is flick this up, switch it off. That's all you have to do, and it will turn off that warning, so you no longer get the terrain pull up warning, and it's better really. That's the only use for it. It just can get very annoying. These once again change the information you can see on the screens. Fuel flow rate, and you can get the thrust set for each engine and everything. That's the auto brake. There's the testing for autopilot disconnect lights. There's a micro. That's push to torque. So in the real aircraft, you've got one push to torque on the yoke, and you've got one push to torque on the microphone button there. Don't think there's anything else really. Fuel pumps, engine selectors, lights, all of those are lights. That's the air conditioning panel. That's the temperature you keep the cabin at. It's generally 23 or 24 degrees in real life, that's what you keep it at. Never really goes higher than that. These are probe heats or pitot heat, and the pitos are, I don't know if I can show you this actually. Let's see if I can show you this. Where is it? Right, can you see? If you turn up the heat in the plane, well, it just heats up the plane. There's not really much you can. I think the maximum it goes is 30 degrees, and the minimum it goes is 18 or 16 degrees. So you're not going to kill anyone by doing it. Oh, but anyway, so can you see these tubes here? I don't know if you can see that properly on the stream, but there's tubes here. I believe those are the pitot tubes. And what the pitot tubes do is it measures the speed at which the air... Oh, you just see black. Ah, right. I don't know if that helps at all. Oops. There. Don't know if you can see that at all. This. Alright. Yeah. So those are pitot tubes, and that measures the rate at which the air hits the plane. So that gives you your indicated airspeed. So if you don't have the pitot heat on, then ice can form on the pitot tubes and you won't be able to see your airspeed, which isn't good at all. Anti-ice I told you about before. If you're flying through a cloud at lower than 10 degrees, you put engine anti-ice on, and if you see ice on the windscreen wipers, you put the wing anti-ice on. That's hydraulics. You don't switch those on when people are deboarding. Here's the attend, so you can hear in the background not air traffic control, the cabin dinging. That's no smoking, that's fasten seatbelts. The emergency exit lights, well, it's self-explanatory, emergency exit light. Once they're armed, it means if there's an emergency, it's going to light up. There's the wipers. You don't switch those on in cruise, so I'm not gonna. Otherwise, I'll ruin something, I just know it. That's ground power switch. This is your navigation, so if you don't have that turned on, it won't know where you are. That's a yaw damper, makes it easier for the aircraft to fly. Yeah, that's basically it really. Might as well turn this back off actually. Yeah, it is. It all links in together. Nothing is there for no reason. Nothing at all. They even designed the tail in such a way that when you use the elevators, the thing that's left over after you pull up, I don't know how to properly explain it, but yeah, I can't quite explain it without showing you properly, but I can't show you in the dark, and I can't show you when I'm cruising either. Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff you can change, but a lot of it does link in. So most of these panels that I use when I'm starting up, they're very important, otherwise you won't be able to start up, will you? Like air conditioning, that's very important, and anti-ice is important. Lights, they're important for air traffic control and other planes, not for you, if you think about it that way. Obviously they're still important. Fuel pumps obviously important, hydraulics are. Everything else is just stuff you're advised to have on, or something you can change to your preference. We're over Liechtenstein, or just next to it. 30 minutes away, so not too long now. You have to put the wheels down manually, sorry. So I have a button on my joystick. I'm going to follow Ryanair operations because I don't have the Jet 2 operations at the moment on me. So I'm going to follow the Ryanair operations. I'm going to set the plane up for landing 4 miles before touching down. So you put the gear down, you put the flaps to 25 landing flaps, and you slow down from about 165 to your approach speed plus whatever the wind speed is. You do all of that just before 4 miles out. You have to be fully configured for landing by 4 miles. But you have to do it all yourself. There's no automation with it. Yeah, 4 miles out is not far at all. You'll see when we get there, 4 miles is nothing. It's most likely going to be about a minute maximum. A minute to 2 minutes maximum from 4 miles to touching down. We'll just make sure this is the same so we can actually update that. What I'll start doing actually, start prepping for my descent. So seeing as Pula does have quite a short runway, I'll put auto brake 3 on. And you can see the different levels of auto brake you get. So you got off, obviously, and you got RTO, that's rejected takeoff. So if you do rejected takeoff, that automatically deploys and you'll slow down quickly. If it doesn't, you have to do manual full braking. That's for long runways, that's for medium runways, that's for short runways, and that's for when you have to stop as soon as possible. So it's a relatively short runway, so I'm going to keep it safe with free auto brake. And we can set the baro as well. So it's a little bit different to when we took off, as you saw is 256 plus 1000 because that's the elevation. Now it's the elevation of the airport plus 200, and that's minimums. That you'll hear the plane call out minimums, and you have to say continue or go around. That's your decision height on whether you land or not. So it's not going to be always plus 200, but the majority of the time it'll be 200 feet above the airport elevation when you have to decide whether you're landing or not. So if I find out the elevation of Pula, I'll just quickly have a look. Elevation is 275 feet, so we have to set in here 475 feet because it's obviously plus 200. Oops. There we go. So that's set. We can actually set the pressure for Pula as well, which is 1021. There we go. When are we descending? In 80 miles, not far whatsoever. Let's have a shortcut, shall we? Yeah, you can practice emergency landings, definitely. They are pretty realistic when you do them as well. You can also practice emergency landings online with air traffic control, so you can do the Mayday calls and everything, as long as you have permission to do it, because quite a lot of the time the air traffic controls are busy. So if you have permission to do it, you can do it online, by all means. And they'll follow real life procedures, and so do you, and they'll land you at the nearest airport. Clear the airport of everything. For example, I actually had a real emergency, not one I wanted to do, because for some reason there was some glitch in the 737 that was flying. It was out of Prague, and for some reason the fuel wasn't flowing to the engines, even though the fuel pumps were on. A quick sim restart would have fixed it, but I wanted to go with the flow. So my right engine failed, engine number 2, and I called a Mayday call on the frequency, and they took me back to Prague as soon as possible, and they actually cleared the entire airport, didn't allow anyone to move whilst I was landing. Then after I landed, they asked whether I wanted emergency vehicles, and I said no, can taxi back to stand. So it is all quite realistic. Yeah, it is. I would like to do another simulated emergency, if I'm honest. I'm just a bit nervous I'm going to crash it, so I don't usually do them because it's so embarrassing if you crash the plane online because everyone can see it. No, I haven't done any air traffic control myself. I don't really fancy that sort of stuff. Bit too stressful. I mean, I know I'm flying an aircraft, but still. And also, you can understand controllers because you expect what they're going to say. You can anticipate what a controller's going to say to you, so that's how you understand them properly. If you're a controller, you can't anticipate what a pilot's going to say to you, and most pilots, well, more pilots have bad microphone quality than air traffic controls. Not in real life, in the simulator, but That's usually how it is. And I can definitely 100% tell you the VATSIM quality at the moment, the codec, whether you can understand them or not, is nowhere near real life at the moment. It's way too grainy and I don't know how to explain it really. It's very hard to understand. It's an old codec. It's a very old codec. But they are updating it in October, so that's fine. But in real life it's crystal clear. Almost crystal clear. You got VHF as well, which is the static and all of that in the background. But it's much, much clearer than it is in the simulator. Yeah, I have enough trouble understanding the air traffic controls, never mind the pilots. So I'm going to try and stay away from that. You can't in this game now. You can't ditch it in the water. You can in X-Plane 11, I think. Although it does count it as a crash. But you can do it, I'm pretty sure. You can't in P3D though, because it just resets you into the air when you do it. It resets you about 100, 200 feet above the water after you crash. Or land in the water. Which is a bit of a shame if I'm honest, but oh well, it is what it is. Well, yeah, it would be good practice, I guess, because you will have to learn it when you go flying. Obviously, Captain Sully, back then, they never ever trained for anything like that. They never trained for a dual engine failure. That's why it's such a miracle it's called the miracle of the Hudson, because it's such a miracle he's that talented to land it and that skilled to land it. But yeah, now it's part of the training. Now you have to ditch it in the water, now you have to do dual engine failure as part of training. So it would be useful. Possibly not as much for the flight dynamics, but obviously you've got the flows, haven't you? When you get an emergency, you have to do certain flows, so you've got the emergency checklist, which you have to go through. Obviously if you know that and if you practice it in the sim over and over again, it's going to get much better and you're going to get fluent in it. Even though it's mandatory to look at the checklist, you have to do it. I'm not doing it in a simulator at the moment, just for the reason that I know what I'm doing at the moment in the 737. Well, I like to think it anyway. If I ever get stuck on something, I'll just look at the checklist, but usually I don't. In real life you have to. You do your flows and then you read the checklist and make sure you've done them correctly. That's usually what you do. 40 miles till descent, not long whatsoever now. 17 minutes till landing. It might be a bit longer because we take a bit longer descending. So, after this autosave has finished freezing my screen, there we go. What are we looking for? We're looking for 2,800 above. So if we have a look here, looks like it's, what's that waypoint called? Crab, isn't it? Yeah. So if we go to 4,000, that should be sufficient. We do 4,000 in here, switch back to map, and seeing as we've already put in 4,000, it will automatically start descending once we reach the top of descent, which is quite nice. Ten miles left. And that's the simulator pausing, because it usually pauses on the top of descent, which is good if you're going away at pause just before you descend. So I like that feature. So we have already set up for descent, so that should be alright now. We've also set up for the ILS, which is good. There we go. It's pitching down and thrust is being reduced. Yeah, here we go. About 80 miles away. We've got to keep an eye on this as well. This is our vertical profile. So this tells us how many feet above or below we are of the recommended altitude. And the computers are currently descending me at the moment. I can do it myself with vertical speed, and I can control the speed it descends. Or I can do level change, which is the quickest way to descend to that altitude. I'm going to keep it on VNAV for now though. That's an autosave. There we go. It's keeping to the profile quite nicely actually. Yeah, survived this one. Surprisingly enough, there's not actually much to do until you pass 10,000 feet. Or 15,000 actually. 15,000 we turn the seatbelt signs on. And then 10,000 we turn the lights on. No, there isn't that much to do now. On the final stages though of the landing, that's when you get a lot to do. Basically, yeah. That is the basics, really. Although, in real life, you have a lot more to do than what I'm doing now. This is just a complete basic version of it, believe it or not. In real life, you're always waiting for information with air traffic control, all of that stuff. You're constantly looking at your FMC. You've got a lot to do in real life. But the general flying part of it is just takeoff and landing. The plane flies itself, so to speak, other than that. Although, if you compare it to a car, It's like pressing cruise control on a car and expecting it to take you to your destination. It's not going to work. There's so much to do in between. Right, I'm actually going to go against what I've said. I'm going to use the lever of shame. Because it is struggling for some reason, the plane is struggling to slow down. So that's what I'm going to try and do there. Because I want to be, ideally, 250 knots below 10,000 feet. That's the limit. Nice one, yeah. I don't know why it's not slowing down like it should. Oh well. What I'm going to do now actually is turn autosaves off. There we go. So if my sim crashes, I'll load it from this point anyway. But I don't want it freezing 10 feet before touchdown, because then it's going to be awful, isn't it? Ah, that's better. Can get rid of the speed brakes now. It's not behaving, is it? I want it to stay below 250. I'm going to bring it to 240 because then it's not going to keep them. Actually, no, 245 should be alright. There we go. That's what I want it to do. So that green, it's called the green banana. That's what people call it. That is, as you could probably guess, it tells you when you're going to reach your altitude that you've put in to here. So we're going to reach 4,000 feet by that point at the current pace that we're doing. Right, what I can do now is level change. Put the speed brakes on so I can get back this that I've just lost. See, I've lost 400 feet there. 400 feet too high. And this gets back to 0. I'll be alright. There's Croatia there. And we're passing through a cloud and it's -8. So put the engines to continuous and put the engine anti-ice on. It's very hard to see the clouds in the dark. Very hard. Some more clouds. Yeah, no, it's not that accurate if you think about it that way. It shows storms, not clouds. You just have to look out the window for clouds, and it's quite hard to see out the window in this darkness. But I can just see clouds creeping past there. So if you've got thunder, if you've got rain and stuff like that, it'll show that. Yeah, it is fun watching it. I must admit. 5 minutes away apparently. It's going to be probably 10 by the time we touch down. Right, so we're above target now, so we can get rid of the speed brakes. We'll put flaps 1 on, shall we? There we go. You shouldn't usually put flaps on this high up, but we are slow enough to have them, and it will help us slow down a bit. I'll control it myself from here on. The rule of thumb is you never use speed brakes with thrust. That's the main rule of thumb. Same with brakes, you don't use brakes and thrust at the same time. For obvious reasons. So A, it's inefficient, and B, it will ruin the brakes. Below 10,000 feet is a sterile cockpit, and in real life that sterile cockpit means no more unnecessary conversation. You get the job done. Below 10,000 feet you concentrate totally on the job at hand, and that's landing the plane. So 10,000 feet would turn the music off. I totally don't do that on F1 car. It's telling us to switch to standard, but that's because I haven't programmed this in. And our transition is actually 6,000 feet, I think. So put that in.
Do you feel the same when I'm away from you? Do you know the land that I bought for you?
We are overspeeding a little bit by 1 mile an hour. I'll bring this down to 230. I'll date you speed by 1 mile an hour. Luckily there's no speed limit in the air. However, well actually that's a bit wrong, to be honest. Below 10,000 feet you're not allowed to go above 250 knots in Europe. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to get beneath, but it's basically your plane's capability. If you overspeed in the plane your wings get ripped off, so it's not too great at speeding in a plane. That just gives you a challenge landing without wings. I guess so. It wouldn't be a very fun challenge, because it's, as far as I know, impossible. I guess you can land it, but a crash land more than a normal land. Right, so we're going downwind now, I think. Oh no, Oh yeah, it is downwind, never mind. So that white dotted line you see there, that's the ILS, which is Instrument Landing System. So there's 144 knots now at flaps 30. So what was I going to have a look at? Well, firstly I want to get rid of that. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. Go to fix runway. What runway we're landing on? Runway 27. Yeah, I'm landing the plane myself. I'm not letting auto land it. I'll never let auto land it unless I'm interested to see how smoothly it can land. We got a very long final, actually, an incredibly long final. No, it's very long. Usually you get maybe a 10-mile final, but final is when you're pointing at the runway when you're about to land. That's final. 10-mile finals the norm. 10 to 15 miles. We got like 20 miles here, 20 to 23 miles, which is plenty of time to slow down. So that's all good. 10 miles out reduced to 160 knots and 4 miles out reduced to landing speed, gears down and flaps 30. Right, so passing that point so you can put seatbelt signs on. Right, what we're going to do is see if you can descend a little bit more than you are at the moment. And put one more set of flaps on. Go to 210 knots. Yeah, we can turn anti-ice off because it's above 10 degrees now. We'll reduce the altitude to 2,800 feet. And that's good. No, there's nothing that can go wrong really by keeping it on, but you get reduced power output when you have anti-ice on, so you get less engine thrust when you have anti-ice. Right, so music can go off now. Stopped at a nice time as well. Right at the end of the song, we're below 10,000 feet. So lights now go on along with the runway turn off lights. We leave the taxi lights off until we're cleared to land. Strobes go on, logo is on. We'll put the wing and wheel well lights on. So if you take a look at that outside, this is what the plane now looks like. Got some nice wing lights. It's what it will look like when you'd normally land. And what I can do now is increase the gain volume again because I've got music off. Tell me if that's alright. I've increased it by about 20. Alright, good. So auto brake is set, that's good as well. Also, we can put the QNH onto the local QNH as well, so that's pressure that's been changed now. We have a little bit of a tailwind on landing, which isn't ideal actually. Usually it's supposed to have a headwind when you land, but we do have a bit of a tailwind, so we're not going to adjust the speed for that now. When you adjust the speed you have a headwind. You can decrease the speed if you have a tailwind, but it's not recommended really, I don't think, unless I remember that incorrectly. But anyway, localizer can be armed now, so when we get into the range of the instrument landing system, the computer will take over. We can arm approach, and after that, and it will take me down to normal altitude, and then I'll disconnect the autopilot and land it myself after that. Sunday Play Streams, hello, very warm welcome to the channel. Oh, Pixel invited you, nice. Just about to land, we're approaching the finals now. Also playing weirder, nice. Well yeah, welcome to the channel. If you check my stream schedule as well, you'll see all the different flights I'll be doing throughout the weeks. So when the localizer is captured, we're going to turn on to the final. Alright, nice, yeah, I'll accept after I've landed. Definitely. Yeah, PMDG 737. Right, localizer is active, so we can arm the approach now. Speed brakes go off. We can stop our descent and wait until the glide slope is activated. Or alive, sorry, I should say. Are you trying to fix Gatwick scenery? What's happened with it? Is this UK 2000 don't do X-Plane, do they? Or do they? I can't remember. I have UK 2000 for Gatwick. Right, I can put my notebook away because I won't be needing that. Wait for this glide slope. We're 20 miles out though, so that's quite some distance. Pixel's odd one out again. It's a shame. Oh well. Alright, I've accepted your request. So I've put some fixes on as well. Just to tell me how far out I am. So about 15 miles out now. When we're 10 miles out, we reduce to 160 knots. So when we're 5 miles out, or 4 miles out, sorry, we reduce to approach speed, gear down, and do final checks. Alright, glide slope captured. So we'll now be descending to the runway. Right, we're approaching 10 miles out, 160 knots. And we bring it to flaps 10 as well, which we'll do now. Was that 15? No, that's 10. So Heathrow's working. Yeah, it's like Pix will tell you as well, we had 2 crashes, 2 sim crashes in this one flight. I'm pretty sure it's from Fly Chrono, so I've disabled that. There's the runway. I don't know if you can see that on stream. No, I don't have the FS Labs, I have the what's it called? Aerosoft. Can't be bothered spending another 120 quid on the plane, so I've just got the standard Aerosoft one. Yeah, those are PAPI lights as well. I forgot what they're called. Precision approach something indicators. 2 reds, 2 whites means you're right on track. 3 whites or 4 whites means you're too high. 3 reds or 4 reds means you're too low. 2 reds, 2 whites are perfect though. You got it for the A318 and 321. That's good. It is. I've heard it's a very good plane. I've heard it's a very, very good build as well. Right, anyway, so let's reduce to VREF. When we're about 5 miles out, we'll start preparing. We have to be ready by 4 miles out.
2500.
Ah, you got the Aerosoft, right. Okay. Right, so we're going to put gear down now. I know we're a little bit fast, but still. Plane doesn't seem to want to slow down for me today. Three greens, which means we can go to flaps 15 now. Flaps 15 done, we can go straight to flaps 30. Speed brakes armed, make sure engines are on continuous, which they are. We're clear to land, so taxi lights can go on. And that is actually it. 4 miles out. We can fly manually now. Right, let's do this. Autopilot and auto throttle disengaged. Right, let's do it. A bit high. Doesn't strictly matter.
1000.
No, don't worry, that alarm is for autopilot disconnect. Trying to keep the speed quite right, which is, it's going alright so far. A bit to left.
Terrain.
Yeah, there you go, there's the terrain warning.
Approaching minimum.
Continue.
50, 30, 20, 10.
Oh, it's a bit of a float, rip. Oh well, we're in the touchdown zone, so that's alright. Indeed, cheeky float. Yeah, I always tend to float the PMDG. Indeed, yeah. It's just that thing that happens. What I need to do is flare earlier and flare less. That's something I need to work on. Yeah, I never tend to float the Airbus. It's just something that never happens. How many hours do I have in Project Fly? I think it's like 530 or something like that. Right, so I don't believe there's a taxiway coming off. There might be one there, so speed up a little bit and we'll do a backtrack. Oh, 1,000, nice. Is this a taxiway? Well, it should be because there's blue lights. Yeah, there we go. Oh, you're part of BA Virtual. I used to be part of them, but I don't know. It's more of a career feeling on there. I'm not too fond of it. APU can go on, engines to off, steady, flaps and speed brakes can go off. Yeah, like I said with BAV, I'm not a big fan of the position reports every so and so hour or minute, whatever. Because sometimes, you know, you have things to do whilst you're flying, and then you have this limit on how long you can fly. I used to be part of Fly UK as well, but then I went on holiday for quite a while, and then obviously you're only allowed a certain amount of leave a year. So I'll just stick with bog standard Project Fly and VAMCs. I'm not going to go down there, it's the next one here. Yeah, by far though, the PMDG is my favourite aircraft. By far. I do love the 7.3. A320 is nice as well, but there's something different about the 737, makes it a bit more fun to fly. Mainly Airbus for short routes. Yeah, I'm sort of the same, but with the 7.3 instead of the Airbus. I love the 7.4 and the 787. I don't have the 777 though. How many hours do I have in this game? Well over 1,000, but only 500 logged on Project Fly. I'd say about 2,000 to 3,000 hours in total. Well, seeing as you're actually supposed to point that way, I'm going to do a bit of a cheat way. And line up like this. Can't quite see which way I'm supposed to go. Although what I could do actually is go forwards. Oops. Yeah, I do have chase plane. Oops. That was an absolute shambles of a parking, but oh well. Yeah, You can't fly without chase plane nowadays, really. So, APU can be switched over and engine switched off. APU bleed goes on, dome light to dim. Also, I know I missed a notification. Thank you very much for the follow, by the way, Sender Plays. It's much appreciated, and welcome to the community. Well, community, I say community is 30 people at the moment, but still. I'm getting there. X-Plane, no I don't have X-Plane. I have P3D and that's it. Yeah, show you the people, of course. So deboarding, requested, electric hydraulics go off. Packs are on, which is good. Anti-collision goes off. Yeah, I know Durka, yeah, I watch him occasionally. Taxi turn-offs on. There's the light from the vehicles. I watch Chewy as well quite a bit. Chewy's another good one. Window heats can go off and pitos can go off. Everything else is good. Right, so doors can be opened. And cargo doors can be opened. Right, so let's wait for the people then, shall we? That's another screenshot and a half, isn't it? I love the graphics on this. Well, they are better in X-Plane, but I've tried my best to make them good in this one. It's just so satisfying when you get good graphics. Yeah, it does look nice. So there's the bus coming. You can see the people unloading the suitcases actually if you look over here. They're the suitcases coming out over there. That's quite nice. And here's the bus coming. And here we go, passengers being deboarded. There they are. Yeah, it is. It does look realistic. I absolutely love it personally. Yeah, they're the passengers. Oh, sorry about that. I'll permit you if you want. I think this works. There you go. Oh wow, yeah, that is really nice. Yeah. That's a classic British Airways What aircraft is that actually? Is it the 737-800 or something? Or 300? Oh, it's definitely not 300, is it? Yeah, 737-200. Looks nice. Yeah, that is very nice. You see, those are the positives of X-Plane for me. The 727. The graphics are just insane for X-Plane. Right then. So, those are the passengers deboarded. So, that's it for today, guys, really, actually. We've landed in Pula. I don't know what the landing rate was, actually. Let me check it. Landed. Oh, wow, okay. Nice. -68. Oh, let's have a look at the 727, shall we? No, DHL. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, incredible. Yeah, like I said, those are the positives will explain the graphics. For me, I love that. Yeah, the engine in the wing as well. Looks really nice. Not the wing, the tail. Yeah, well anyway, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. We had a pretty soft landing in Pula. There was a float though, so can be improved. But it was a successful flight from Manchester to Pula. VATSIM half of the way and then it crashed, so we had to disconnect. But overall, the debrief of this flight, I mean, really, really good, yeah. And the Pixel, thank you so much for being here, and Slender Plays streams as well. That's great company you two gave as well. And everyone else who has joined or watched this video later on as well, because this will be published on my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching, and you can join me tomorrow. I think it's 7 or 8 o'clock, something like that, British Standard Time. I'll be doing an ultra long haul flight. I don't know where from, I don't know what aircraft, but I'll think of something between now and tomorrow. And we'll be doing an overnight flight, which should be quite nice. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll hopefully see you tomorrow then. Alright, so that's it from me. Thank you, and bye-bye.